That may not sound like a big deal. Try grinding 5 sets at a Grand Slam with your toe fused.
(40-50).
He's regretting losing that opening serve. That's what's concerning him right now. The big Czech is serving pretty well. Point for 3-1. I think Hernych has figured out that he's not going to beat him rallying good on the baseline. Leighton.
So Hernych holds and gets it out to a 3-1 lead, as Hewitt will serve here, and pretty good chance that 5 years from whenever it is that he decides to retire with that resume, he'll be in these halls as well.
Well, you know, we talk so much about the Wimbledon, but he won the U.S. Open in '01. That's pretty darn good. Finished #1 in the world twice. He will certainly be a likely candidate for the Hall of Fame.
That U.S. Open run in 2001 included, and to me it makes it even more impressive, wins over 3 American stars. And when you beat Americans at the U.S. Open to capture a Grand Slam, you're doing something. He beat James Blake in the 2nd round. He was down 2-1 and won 6-love in the 5th. Then he beat Tommy Haas. Then he beat Roddick in 5 sets. And then he beat Sampras in the final.
Great court coverage by Hewitt.
I think he took a hand off the racket on that last backhand.
Watch this little spin ball. He comes in with that top spin. He gets the little drop volley angle. Jan gets to it down the alley, thinking he'd win the point, and there's Hewitt. Beautiful anticipation. Leighton attacking a little bit there.
40-love.
Getting to be more and more aggressive.
A love hold for Hewitt, so starting to sink his teeth into this match after suffering an early break. We'll see if he can get out of the hole as Hewitt tries to regain his place of prominence in grass court tennis, the former world #1 down early.
You see his great movement there.
Jewelry and fashions for girly girls of all ages. So to preview the collection, stop by the Angela Moore booth right here at the Tennis Hall of Fame.
Time.
Quick reminder that You can log on to tennischannel.com to follow us on social media. Facebook and Twitter are available to you. Log on to tennischannel.com to sign up and join the conversation.
I made a promise to myself that I wouldn't drink.
Hernych serving here, up a break at 3-2.
I had drinking half.
Not a good start. Hewitt sensing he's got a break here, one of these two games coming up, where he could fall behind a set.
Left. Versus.
Great return there off Hewitt. Grew up love 30, but Hernych has really made up his mind. He's going to try to beat Hewitt coming in. He's not staying back. Certainly on his serve. Starting to come in on both first and second.
Do you agree with that play?
I think that is smart. As he got the early break, he serves. He's got to serve first serves, though. And there's a better answer and why Hewitt is so dangerous. Beautiful return to serve off a good first serve. Moves right to the spot, stays low, comes through the ball, and he's at love 40.
Left versus.
When you see Hewitt return like he's doing in this game, you're reminded of the quote that the great tennis writer Robert Davis wrote about Leighton. He said the only difference between
15-40.
Leighton Hewitt and a wooden backboard is that Hewitt has a heartbeat. He's not blessed with size, not 6 feet tall, not particularly strong, but he has quickness, determination, and all kinds of fight.
Okay,
He's got the break back.
So you knew it wasn't going to be that easy for Hernych, and it isn't. The break retrieved by the Aussie. And now Leighton will try to nose back in front here on his own serve. We mentioned the ranking woes that Hewitt experienced last year, falling outside the top 200. Hernych has had his own ranking problems. Granted, he's never been nearly as high as Leighton has. Hernych down in the 200s, 272 in the world this spring.
Real smart play there by the Czech. He gets good depth here and comes in behind it. A floater, he nails that volley into the open court. Hewitt can't cover. Intelligent style there by Jan Hernych. That was called good, Brett.
It was. You heard somebody grunt there.
Yeah, somebody yelled out, but it was not the linesperson.
No, she signaled good, and that's a brilliant two-handed cross-court pass from Hewitt. Getting around the outside of that ball with his left hand.
Left versus.
First ace for either player. Hernych had a 5-match losing streak this spring on the Challenger Tour. Forget about the main tour. Things got so bad, he fell outside the top 250 in the world. He had to go down another level. He played the Futures, which is a level below, and he made a final at an F3, a future in his home country in the Czech Republic, and that's when things started to turn around. Made the round of 16 at Halle on the grass as a qualifier, and then made the quarterfinals at Rosemalen again as a qualifier, and now here he is in the quarterfinals here.
Clearly he likes grass better.
40-30.
He's got about a 500 career record on grass. In fact, he's just one below 500, 16 and 17. His winning percentage on hard courts is right around 300. So you're right.
Hewitt.
So from a breakdown early, Hewitt noses out front on the scoreboard now, holds for 4-3, trying to restore order. Back live in Newport in a moment.
Frozen yogurt, providing you with a variety of flavors and toppings to satisfy your craving for something cool, sweet, and refreshing. Head over to the Orange Leaf tent for your very own cup of delicious frozen yogurt. You can also treat yourself with Orange Leaf at their store located right downtown, 198 Thames Street. And in addition, just a reminder, Michael Russell is now signing autographs at the Alex and Ani booth here at the Hall of Fame. It's Michael Russell, one of our semifinals, finalists in the singles draw, signing autographs at the Alex and Ani retail tent.
Look inside the International Tennis Hall of Fame and the exhibit that's been set up for the new class of 2013.
And what a diverse class it is. There you see the picture of Charlie Pasquarello straight in. Also Martina Hingis in that group. Thelma Long, Cliff Drysdale, and of course the great Jan Tiriac from Romania is here.
Everybody now knows Charlie Pasquarello from the great work he's done growing that Indian Wells tournament, but we forget the NCAA championships at UCLA in the mid-60s, the U.S. Indoor Championships. He was a great player before he became a leader in the management side of tennis.
Absolutely. Longest match at Wimbledon with Pancho Gonzalez lasted for about 20 years until the Isner match. Beautiful first serve by Jan Hernych.
15-0.
I was lucky enough to see both those matches.
In person?
Yeah.
You stayed for all 11 hours and 5 minutes, all 3 days of
I saw the last day and a half.
Okay.
But Charlie's went for 2 days with Pancho.
30-15.
Back in '68. You heard was Leighton Hewitt. He covered that beautifully and then shoveled it wide. Here's a drop volley coming up right there. It's a little high. Leighton gets in quick and plays it, but it goes wide. He had that ball covered very well.
Game, Annie.
So Hernych holds for 4-all after the two exchange breaks early in this first set. The great parts of that match between Passerelle and Gonzalez, 1969 Wimbledon, is the fact that Gonzalez was 41 years old at the time. And you look at Pancho Gonzalez's resume, and of course he's in the Hall of Fame, inducted in 1968. He made the 4th round of Wimbledon that year, 1969. 21 years after he made the 4th round of Wimbledon for the first time in 1948.
Not only that, because he was a Jack Kramer pro, he was able to play after he'd been inducted. I mean, it was in the Hall of Fame and he was still playing in Wimbledon.
15.
That point could have been in an exhibit in the Hall of Fame from 40 years ago of what grass court tennis used to look like. Little slice, little chip charge.
And Hewitt's very comfortable staying back. He'd like to keep Hernych in those rallies. Hewitt's
Wimbledon title 11 years ago. He beat David Nalbandian in the final, in one of the easiest, breeziest Wimbledon finals you'd ever want to see, 1-3-2. Of course, he beat Tim Henman the round before, as Henman's futile effort to win that title continued.
Good first serve there by Leighton.
40-15.
I wonder if Tim Henman saw the draw at this year's Wimbledon with all those big guns going out early and said, geez, I wish I could have had a draw like that when I was playing. Clips the tape, dribbles over, end of apology from Hewitt, but whatever, gets it to 5-4 on serve, first set.
Corona Extra. You can stop by any of the Corona beer carts located throughout the tournament grounds, or hang out, hang loose, as the kids say, at the Corona Beach House and enjoy the draft beer selection, including Negro Modelo, Modelo Especial, and Pacifico.
Some of the sounds of yesteryear piped through the PA system here at the Hall of Fame. And Donald, this place really does evoke the feeling of an era gone by. Just the edifice here is so reminiscent of old-time architecture and old-time tennis.
You're never going to see a setting like this we have up here looking down over the whole the whole courts and the background of the buildings and the museum, and then the indoor tennis over on the other side. It is a spectacular venue, and I hope many of the tennis followers will come up and see it.
It's the Horseshoe Plaza where they dine an overrule from the chair on a fault called first serve, so Hernych will get 2. This place was originally a social club for the aristocrats of Newport, built in 1880. Six acres of land, 20 some odd grass courts, and Donald, you and the other board members of the Hall of Fame have done such a great job of not only keeping it in shape, but improving it every year.
We spent a lot of time, money, and effort, but it's paid off.
39.
What's on the horizon for the Hall of Fame?
Well, we're about to announce a huge capital campaign. We're trying to raise $15 million, which we're 2/3 of the way there now. We haven't announced it yet.
You just announced it.
But the building over there, we're going to build 3 more indoor courts. We're going to buy some of the buildings on the other side and really expand the campus, as they like to say here. Huge project.
That's the indoor building?
Right there behind. That's going to be expanded into 3 more courts and a couple squash courts.
Game, Henning.
Hennings, that's his best game to date. Awfully good first serving.
5 games.
Love hold for Hernych. Serving at 65%, winning 65% when he gets it in. It's funny, when you looked around the grounds, Donald, we showed that indoor building. One of the great things about this facility, aside from its history and the obvious points, is that there are people playing grass court tennis on the courts adjacent to us even as we speak that have nothing to do with this tournament.
And they're pros teaching on the right side, teaching young women players.
This is the Lawn Tennis Club of Newport, and yeah, sure, there's an ATP event going on, and sure, this is Hall of Fame weekend, but they've got their whites on and they're playing ball.
Great first serve by Leighton. Splits that center line.
There you go. I mean, that's a league right now. That could be a 3.5 league, and you know, okay, fine. I get that Leighton Hewitt's 20 feet away, but we've got matches to play.
Leighton wants to be very careful here. 15 all 5 all. Hall of Fame tournament is the only grass court tournament in the United States. First held it here in 1976. And it's also the last grass court season play, 2013.
You like to see a little more grass court tennis over the course of the year?
Well, we played, that's all the whole circuit was. You know, Marion, Orange, Southampton, Boston, Newport, they were all grass tournaments. And then the Open, the U.S. Championships on Forest Hills was grass. All that's changed.
Gorgeous recovery from Leighton to get that lob back and then punch the volley into the open court. It's Hewitt 6-5. Hernych to force the breaker if he can.
World Tour pros are competing on. You can play on the historic courts that have hosted the game's biggest stars since 1881. The Hall of Fame grass courts among very few grass courts in the nation that are open to the public. So drop in to rent a court for a hit session with friends, take a lesson with our certified pros, or join in a clinic or round robin. Seasonal memberships The new young professional membership and adult and junior programs also available. Visit tennisfame.com or ask a staff member here today for more information.
Wind picking up here in Newport as we get close to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Jan Hernych will serve to try to force the tiebreak opening set against Leighton Hewitt.
Time.
The grass court season is so abbreviated now, Donald. When we see what we saw at Wimbledon this year with the players having such issues with the footing and that resulting in some injuries this year, I mean, it makes you wonder if there shouldn't be more time to adjust to what is a very, very different brand of tennis.
Well, that's what Wimbledon's doing, you know. In 2015, they're going to move the tournament, the whole championship, back a week to get another week of grass court tennis in England. It was a huge controversy.
15 up.
First serve ace, right on the line. And remember, it used to be called USLTA. When I was a kid, the United States Lawn Tennis Association, over and over and over. Now it's the USTA because there's no grass except Newport.
Can't have a lawn tennis association without a lawn.
Yeah, exactly. But that's how much things have changed.
15 all.
Of course, they still call it the LTA over in England. But is a week, I mean, a week more is better, I guess, but is a week enough to make a difference?
Well, yeah, I think it is. It gives them 3 weeks leading into Wimbledon now. And they don't have to, right after the French. Players are coming off slow clay. Beautiful lob and a better overhead.
I guess the result is that it squeezed the Emirates Airline U.S. Open Series by a week on the other end.
And the Americans were not happy with that. They tried very much to talk Wimbledon out of it.
In the current scenario, the men and the women each get a week off from the major tournaments in that lead up to the U.S. Open. In the new scenario starting in 15, that there won't be.
No, there are going to be more tournaments. There are 3 more tournaments. They want to fill that week.
Yep.
Yeah, Hernych.
So Hernych, after getting broken back, has steadied himself.
6 games all.
Third set of singles tennis played here in Newport today, and all 3 have gone to tie breaks. John Isner won both of his against Ivo Karlovic in our first quarterfinal. We'll see how this one plays out.
And despite 2 breaks, 1 each, we're into the tiebreaker. At 6 all.
One, 0. Hewitt.
Just missed by about 4 inches.
Hewitt 4-4 in tie breaks this year on the ATP World Tour. Just a hair over 500 for his career. Played in nearly 300 of them now.
That's a big error there, serving a double fault at 1 all in the tiebreak. He could pay heavily on that.
Second double for Hernych, mini break to Hewitt. gives it back.
2-0.
Brilliant two-hander cross court from Hewitt.
And it's a very, very important point there. He just dropped his mini break. It's 2-all. And watch how he gets down real low. Stays down. Beautiful cross court pass there. Gets his shoulder and front leg right into that shot. Shows you how low the ball comes off the grass. And Hewitt got down to it very nicely.
That clipped the tape.
3-0.
Very unlucky. He had that running forehand. Looked like it might be a winner. And bounced on top of the net out and went out.
A great pickup on the half volley from Hernych. Bounced right over his frame after clipping the tape, but flew a hair wide. So they change ends at 6-all and 3-all. Hewitt, having made the final here a year ago, losing to John Isner, and now with a very good look at making the semifinals here again this year, has to wonder why he didn't play here more often. As you see his wife Beck and their young son Cruz. This is just his third appearance in Newport. He played here in 1998 and then didn't play again here until 2012.
14-year hiatus. But I tell you, Hernych hit a very solid forehand volley to go up 4-3 here in this critical opening set tiebreak.
Left misses.
Lot of open court for Hewitt to slice that backhand into, and he puts it into the net. And now 5-3 for Hernych.
And now he's really scrambling.
This is a must-have for Hewitt.
This is a lot of first serves in this set.
Missing a couple of second serves as well. Hewitt now serving under 45%. And it's 3 set points for Hernych, the first 2 if necessary on his own serve. Serve and volley tennis from Hernych pays a very important dividend for him. Takes the first set in a breaker against the former world #1. Does Hewitt have a comeback in him?
Films such as Match Point, Wimbledon, and the Royal Tenenbaums have featured tennis. And today it's not uncommon to see movie stars such as Alec Baldwin, Sean Connery, Nicole Kidman, and Matthew Perry in the stands of important tennis events. The exhibit features dynamic imagery, video highlights showcasing tennis in the movies, and special items including movie scripts focused on tennis. Admission with your tournament ticket, just $8 for adults. Kids 16 and under are free. And don't forget, Hall of Fame members get in free and receive a free audio tour.
Bit of a murmur in the crowd here at the Newport Casino, as perhaps not the man they expected took that first set. Hernych over Hewitt, your thoughts on that opener?
Well, I thought it was pretty intelligent. He shifted his play at 3-all. Hernych had been on the baseline rallying with Hewitt. Suddenly he became a serve and volleyer on this court and put a lot of pressure on Leighton. And he won the tiebreaker in a very brilliant way. I thought Leighton had some bad luck there. He hit a couple lead cords that hurt him. And that last point.
One of the complaints that I hear from analysts and writers a lot about modern players is that they don't have a plan B. That whatever their style of play is their style of play, and they're going to go down with the ship. Maybe what you just saw, Donald, is the sign of a 34-year-old player who's been around the block once or twice. He said, look, this isn't going to work against Hewitt from the bait. Let me try something else.
And what do I have to lose? You know, the #1 rule in all of tennis is to change a losing game. It's easy to say and very hard to do. And you're right. None of the top players tend to do that. They play their own pattern, their own style, and they're awfully good. But they don't have a plan B. I lost a lot, so I could change my game often.
Well, it's what we say about the best football coaches, right? We say that the ones who are great are the ones who can go in at halftime and make an adjustment.
And Hernych is really putting the pressure on now. He's coming in on every serve. And Leighton's got to pass off this grass, and that's tough. Another good first serve.
But you make a great point, Donald, which is it's one thing to say it and to know that you need to do it. To have the weapons and the wherewithal to actually do it is another thing.
Well, he changed completely after the first 5 or 6 games. And because we said he's not going to beat Leighton on the baseline.
It's interesting, though.
30-50.
You know, how willing are you to get out of your comfort zone, right? You can do what you're doing, do what you're comfortable doing, and lose respectably, or you can take a chance, risk losing ugly, but also have that chance that you could do something special.
Well, I think, too, there's no pressure on Hernych, and he really, he's got everything to win, nothing to lose in this match. Hewitt got lucky there with that left cord.
He'll take one. He's had a couple go against him in this match. Missed that last volley, but the same strategy appears to be working.
30-40.
Break point for Hewitt.
He hit that other second volley right on the sideline, right above us, and we watched it hit smack in the center of the line. Break point for Lleyton Hewitt.
That volley not precise enough, right in the middle of the court, and Hewitt was all over it for the pass.
First game, second set.
We mentioned that this is just the 3rd trip to Newport for Hewitt. He talked to us about why he likes it here so much now.
Yeah, no, it's a good tournament. Yeah, one of the main things is grass. I really enjoy playing on the surface. I think it suits my game pretty well. Yeah, later in my career now, I think it's probably my favourite surface to play on, and there's really not many tournaments on grass. So that's why I probably enjoy playing as much as I can on this particular surface. And then straight after here is obviously the lead into the US Open and all on the hard court surface again. So you got to change pretty quick.
Has his best winning percentage of any surface on grass. More than 3/4 of his matches he's won on this surface.
As they say, that tells the story nicely.
By the way, when you hear Lleyton interviewed,
Love 15.
How brilliant a broadcaster is that guy going to be when he finishes up? Because he already is down in Australia on Channel 7 during the Open. As soon as he loses, they get him in a polo shirt with the network insignia on there, and they get him to work.
I did the Australian Open about 3 years on Channel 7.
15
And the
all.
first day I came on, the producer didn't know what to do. They had 100 complaints of my American accent. And I thought I was going to be fired. And he didn't know whether to keep me or fire me.
They got used to you?
Yeah. And then I got all right after, but I went there 3 times.
We certainly have our share of Aussies on American television, including our beloved Renee Stubbs here on Tennis Channel.
And Darren Cahill's awfully good on ESPN.
Killer's great. How about that reaching volley, moving to his left, lunging his racket hand back to his right. So Hernych is showing us some things here.
Let's watch this point again. He comes in with a good swing volley. Hewitt's a little short with the lob. And Hernych makes a great overhead. He's showing a lot of different varieties there now that he's coming in all the time. And Leighton was serving and coming in then. So he wants to change the pattern of play, which is smart. There you saw tennis at its best. They both on the baseline rallying, the slice backhands, and suddenly Hernych got a short ball, came right in, and forced the error on Hewitt's pass. That is really smart, intelligent tennis.
Break chances for Hernych to get back even right away, early stages of this second set.
Great serve. Again to the wide forehand side with the slice.
3 aces for each man now. Still break point. I guess that's for the sun.
Hewitt saved that first point, running wide to his right. Good court coverage. Still very quick at 32.
Where do you rate Hewitt in the pantheon of counter punchers and defenders like we just saw him do on that point?
Well, there's a lot of them now, the way the game's changed on this hard course. You know, I mean, Murray at one stage was a counterpuncher. Now he's aggressive. Lendl's gotten him being a much more aggressive player. Henman was a counterpuncher in my mind. Although he liked to serve and come in more, that was really his strength. But certainly Leighton's one of the top 10. I don't know where I'd place him.
Advantage, Hewitt.
His great strength is his fighting qualities. He's just very determined not to lose. You got to overwhelm him to beat him.
A lot of the same qualities that people assign to David Ferrer now. And watch Hewitt after this point here. It flexes his knee quite a bit and did it for a while after the point as well. He reached down to his left knee.
Yeah, that was very stiff. You could easily pull something. It's one of the problems with grass. You got to stay low and stay bent.
Advantage, Hernych.
He's limping slightly.
Well, that's been the issue with Hewitt. A compromised wheel is just not going to work with his style of play.
Boy, is he popular in Australia, though. Woo.
That's a phrase we used to hear from Pat Rafter all the time, that old sorry mate with the Aussie accent after he pulled down a toss.
Hernich's got a chance to get back in this set now. He breaks here.
Game, Hernych.
And that's exactly what he does. So 2 breaks of
One
serve
game
for each man now, 1 each in the first 2 sets. And something is not right with the knee of Leighton Hewitt. If you go back through the injury annals of Leighton Hewitt's career, there is a long list of issues through which he has suffered. The foot most recently.
Beautiful return. Stepped into that nicely, met it perfectly.
Love 15.
But again, he keeps walking around trying out his left knee, bending it. Very, very good second serve there.
15 all.
Void going down love 30. Nice toss. Sets it up nicely, and Hewitt's a little slow getting to it.
Had all kinds of time to line up that backhand pass, and Hernych resolute in his tactics coming forward, and Hewitt continuing to try to work it out. Can't scoop that one up.
I think that's the toughest shot in tennis, coming in on first serve, and you got to really get down to make that half volley. He just stuck his racket down and hoping it would come off the rebound, but that's not going to happen. And you really got to have touch and feel to make that shot and bend down, stay low.
(40-30).
Hernych is really going to be trouble if he can continue to serve the first ball in. That's the problem. He's got to get high first serve percentage. Hewitt will like the second serve.
Wind helps blow that long, and Hernych
balls, please.
consolidates that break back with a hold. Leighton Hewitt very gingerly to the chair on this first changeover of the set.
Fame Tennis Championships are brought to you by and by Kia Motors. The Hall of Fame Tennis Championships are brought to you by Chubb and by Kia Motors.
A look at the Horseshoe Plaza, just a few yards away from the Bill Talbert Stadium court here at the Hall of Fame, all part of this glorious complex in Newport, Rhode Island. If you haven't been here, you should make it a point to get here as part of your tennis pilgrimage. New balls for Hewitt, serving down 1-2.
15.
In one set. So this is a big game for Leighton Hewitt to stay even.
Left. versus.
Good serve, slice down the center.
30-11.
Leighton's trouble when he gets that first ball in. He misses a lot of first serves these days.
And that catches the line.
30-15.
Interesting here. Leighton goes to volley it and then lets it go. Could have made that easily in front of him. Ball lands inside the line. 30-15. Another missed first serve.
Out.
That's overruled by the chair, and Leighton doesn't like it.
30.
That's a big call. That chair umpire stepped right in there to make that call before there was much ado. Leighton very unhappy with that.
Hewitt sarcastically asked the chair if he'd like to correct that one as well.
40-30.
Desperately needs some more first serves along those lines, down at 42% for this match.
Ooh. That's been his problem. Toss is too low. Most of his serves are into the net, and that means the toss is low.
Okay, good.
Very odd sort of half squash push forehand from
2 games on.
Hernych into the net. Maybe seeing some of why he's venturing into the net as often as he is, because from the baseline, that wasn't pretty.
His strength is volleying and putting pressure on Leighton. He stays back, he's going to lose.
Flat versus.
Wind really picking up right now.
Love 50.
Third double for the Czech. He got up to the top 60. Hernych did in 2009, made the third round of the Australian Open. Had a bit of a dust up with the Czech Tennis Federation that year. He was finally asked to play Davis Cup. And boy, I don't know if he pulled that serve down at the very last second, or that was awfully close to a whiff. That was
yeah, they're giving him 2 serves though.
Boy, that was a long time to wait.
Beautiful, beautiful pass by Hewitt, moving to his right so easily.
Love 30.
Watch here. It's the first return. There's a good volley. Short though, and Hewitt just nails the forehand loop down the line. Makes it look so easy. Keeps the pressure on the server.
Be 3 great chances for Hewitt to nose out in front here again in this second set.
Love 40.
Brilliant return game.
pretty good first serve. Right on the line at 118 miles per hour.
Fourth ace for Hernych.
Double fault. Really a bad time for that.
So Hewitt breaks Hernych for the third time in the match on his 7th chance and leads again in the second set.
To learn more about their wide array of products and services, and to enter to win an autographed tennis racket by 2013 Hall of Fame inductee Martina Hingis. Honesty, integrity, quality, Chubb Personal Insurance.
Leighton Hewitt up a break in the second set for the second time. He lost the first set in a tie break to Jan Hernych. Our good friend and Hall of Famer Bud Collins back where he belongs at the Hall of Fame.
We're going to have Bud on the show tomorrow, I think, if the weather holds nice. And we certainly welcome his return. His health's getting better. He's getting stronger. And he's certainly a national treasure to tennis.
His wife Anita alongside. All of us in the sport know Anita almost as well as we know Bud. She's been such a big part of his life. And
she's on the left right there.
Yes.
Welcome back, Bud. And Hewitt's got the break now. He's going to try to grind it out, which is his specialty. So much tougher when he gets that first ball in.
Winning nearly 80% of the points when he gets his first serve, and he's just only getting it in 42% of the time.
That's unbelievable. Both unbelievable. 3 in a row, and he's up 40 love.
The USTA with juniors is doing some sabermetrics type of research for its junior players, where they're trying to illustrate just how vital certain stats are in tennis. Tom Gullickson, who's former Davis Cup captain, who's working with the USTA juniors now, is telling me that they tell kids that first serve plus forehand equals 87% success.
87?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
I think there's some finer points to that stat. I'm generalizing, but I think it's meant to use math and statistics to illustrate the point that we're seeing here in this game, which is that if you get a first serve in and then you get a forehand on your next ball, good things happen.
Stan Smith used to always tease me that I never taught him anything, never said anything to him in the changeovers in Davis Cup, except get your first serve in. I said, well, Stan, that was fairly important.
That just goes wide on return. It's a simple game, right?
Get your first serve in. Particularly in doubles with Bobby Lutz at the net. They were invincible. Now he's a perfect example here. He's got to come in on the second serve. Hewitt's a very good returner, and it's not a good play. And there's why. Comes in on that second ball. Leighton guessing right to the forehand, slaps it by him.
Whoa.
Nice overhead smash there by Yan.
30-15.
Kept the ball right in front of him. Got a little higher, the wind would have bothered him.
Pays the price for a second serve again. Leighton really starting to dial in those passing shots, Dominic.
30-all.
Good second serve and better return. Hewitt guessing perfectly. Just blocks back the backhand side with 2 hands. Steers it in.
Oh, and he misses that. About as simple a sitter as you could ask for at the net, and he frying panned it wide.
This is unusual. He had a short little sitter there, and he slaps at it. He didn't turn his shoulders, and he mishits it.
That was break chance for Hewitt to go up
Deuce.
5-2 and serve out the set. Deuce instead.
What a difference a point makes. That was a biggie.
Wind directly in Hernich's face now, freshening more than it has been.
Unusual.
Hernych.
That's a bad return for Leighton on an important point. And he had a second serve high to his forehand, but he misjudged the timing.
Game Hernych.
So a break chance for Hewitt to put a stranglehold on this set instead. Instead, he holds and remains within shouting distance.
Coming up on Sunday, we will welcome Billie Jean King to Newport for a one-time only screening of the newly released Battle of the Sexes documentary, airing in Newport exclusively as a special fundraiser to support the International Tennis Hall of Fame and Museum. So you can join us on Sunday, 8 o'clock in the Casino Theater for a one-time only local screening of this newly released documentary. And Billie Jean will be here in person to share her reflections with fans. Tickets are $30 for the screening. A special pre-show VIP reception with Billie Jean is also available. Head to the box office for tickets or order on tennisfame.com.
Well, after this tournament, it's the start of the Emirates Airline U.S. Open Series, the hard court sequence leading up to the U.S. Open, and what a great run. All of these tournaments you'll see on Tennis Channel.
Right. July 25th with Bank of the West, all the way through Winston-Salem, leading into the U.S. Open on August 20th. It's a great thing the USTA has gotten together with the Tennis Channel and ESPN and put these weeks on consecutive play, and you know you're going to get a good semifinal and final, both the men and women, each weekend.
I'm really excited to see your tournament in Washington this year, the City Open, because this will be, if I'm not mistaken, the first year that it's co-ed at the same time with the Olympics not interfering.
That's for sure. We have a terrific field. Juan Martin Del Potro just entered yesterday.
Nice.
And he's the defending champion twice.
Oh,
good
and a
play.
Slip for Hernych. He waves his hand to Leighton to say, I'm okay.
15.
It shows you how little serving and volleying is going on with this tournament and others on grass. That's where it's slick, up at the net. Nobody goes there.
Watch it right here. And there's where the slip is, right there up his right side. You can really twist an ankle pretty easily on that. needs to hold here.
$30.
Hernych is trying to figure out how to get into that net because he's not winning percentages at all from the baseline to baseline. But if Hewitt can keep the ball deep, it keeps him away. And there you see a really smart sequence. He serves him wide to the forehand, the slice. The ball comes back short into the middle, opens up the court, and he goes for the winner.
Easy as you like. Love hold for Hewitt to get it to 5-3.
Hewitt leads 5 games to 3.
Novak Djokovic, by the way, won the Emirates Airline U.S. Open Series on the men's side last year. We hear that Rafael Nadal will be back to play at least one event on the road to the U.S. Open.
Great recovery there from the Czech. Off balance on the overhead. He covers nicely.
15.
Hewitt goes with the lob. Hernych is short, but he recovers beautifully and times his volley well.
A
couple of service returns that Hewitt believes he should have done more with, and his frustration is mounting here. Hernych winning right about 50% of the points on his second serve, which against a returner like Hewitt is a pretty good number. Unfortunately, he served 5 of those, and it's gotten him in trouble.
Really unlucky. Covered that ball well, and it skips off the net. Or left court out of bounds.
40-15.
Watch Hewitt's stride here. We're going to look at a replay. Again, he's gimpy on the left knee as he returns to the baseline after this point.
Very tough shot there. He gets it, but it hits the top of the net.
Inside out on the backhand.
Game, Hernych.
Serve and volley works again, and Hernych gets the hold to get it to 4-5, but Hewitt will serve for the second set when we come back.
EMC is a global leader in cloud computing, big data, and security technologies, and proud to be a presenting sponsor of the 2013 Hall of Fame Tennis Championship.
the lessons continue on the grass courts adjacent to the Talbert Stadium. Why not?
Time.
Maybe you want to come in and check out the quarterfinal match with a former world #1 playing on the adjacent court, but you know, we've got court time. We're not giving it away.
And the Hall of Fame is open to the public. It's a public facility. Anyone can come here and play, and we encourage it.
Give you a sense of just how different grass court tennis is if you've never played it, and more people have never played it.
Because there's less and less of it in America. Let's see if Leighton Hewitt can serve out the set here. It's up 15-love, 5-4. Very good start there with an unplayable serve.
30.
So interesting to see Hewitt, now 32 years old, sort of transition into the latter stages of his career. We think of him as being a teenager, at least a lot of us do, because he broke in that way. 15 years old when he got his first wild card and won his first matches on tour. 16 when he won his first title.
$30-50.
Still plays the game with the exuberance, the passion, the intensity of a teenager.
He just loves the game. He loves to play.
All here on his serve.
Let's see if he goes wide here in the key point of the game. Slices it wide on the forehand side. Nope. Goes for an ace down the middle. When you saw the toss, you could tell. He threw the ball up straight up, and you knew he had to go down the middle. Once he threw the ball up, because the slice, he's got to serve it, throw it a little bit to the right and come around it.
So this one will go the distance. A fist pump from Hewitt to his box, and the former world #1 bounces from a first set tiebreak loss. Forces a third. We'll have it for you live when we come back.
Visit A-Market across the street, available at Garden Shopping Center or at myamarket.com.
Today, our third quarterfinal between a couple of giants, John Isner and Ivo Karlovic, a match that not only didn't see a break of serve, Donald, it didn't even see a break point.
That's so true. We talked about the tiebreakers in the opening, and sure enough, both sets were settled by tiebreakers, and John Isner loves tiebreakers, and he won both.
He did, and so the two-time defending champion is into the semifinals, and he will play the winner of this match tomorrow, a match that has one set left to decide it. First set to Hernych and a breaker. Second set to Hewitt, 6-4. What do you expect in this third, Donald?
I think Hernich's going to try to come in more, but I think Leighton Hewitt's ready for him now. He's played himself into the match. I thought there was a chance there in the early in the second set where Hernych might rush him off the court, but you got to like the consistency of Hewitt. Let's see how the serve and volley goes for the Czech. That's what he's going to try and do in the third set, which got him the first set. Not a good start.
Love 50.
Hernych winning 71% of the points when he gets his first serve in, just 44% when he needs a second.
And there is a beautiful touch play by Hewitt. He faked down the line and crossed him up and went behind him.
Love 30.
Let's watch it here. Good camera work. Short ball. He comes in, fakes down the line. Hernych moves that way and then suddenly changes the whole direction. Look at that beautiful play. He gets down so low on the grass. That was picture book. Hewitt mad.
15-30.
Turns right around, faces his wife and child there in the front row. I don't know what he said.
Leighton and Beck have been married since 2005. This is not her first rodeo. So break chances here, and no sooner does he get frustrated with himself and he turns it around, gives himself a come on, and has some break points.
15-40. Interesting. At 32, he's still battling.
Including himself.
Great forehand down the line by Hernych.
30-40.
I thought Hewitt made a good return. His first serve, he caught it nicely, but it didn't phase the Czech at all. Swooping forehand winner. Ooh, that was a bad bounce.
And we saw that once in the first quarterfinal today with John Isner. That's a swing and a miss because of an irregularity in the court.
Yeah, the ball skidded low, much lower than his racket.
So from 2 break points down, now a game point for Hernych to start off this third set with a hold.
The key is whoever's getting their first serve in. When Hernych gets his first serve in, he's tough as heck. And Hewitt will step in and try to make a play on the second ball. There is no second ball.
7 doubles for Hernych. That's too many.
Another double. Whew.
Advantage, Hewitt.
He's really pressing, trying to keep Hewitt back on the returns, but he's got to get the serve in. Hewitt asked the chair umpire, "Are you sure that was out?" And the chair did not overrule the baseline. I thought it was on the line. From up here, we're way up high, though.
Close, hard for Leighton to argue from the opposite baseline.
He's got his break point again.
Advantage, Hewitt.
Hernych beat Jack Sock in 3 sets in the round of 16 after losing the second. It would have to be the same formula here.
That's a good win, though, beating Jack Sock on grass.
Wind took that ball out of Leighton's strike zone, forced him to lunge at the backhand just a hair, and it sailed long on him. Now another break chance will be his 13th of the match. He's converted 3. Oh, and he had it lined up, and that would have been the break. Plenty of real estate to hit that forehand into, and he missed it.
And he had enough time, too. He moves quickly to that spot. Just missed it. Notice that Hernych has not been serving his first or second serve and coming in on this. He's been staying back and rallying, and here he comes on the chip. But it's not very deep. Hewitt just moves to his right slightly, steps around, finishes well over his left shoulder with a lot of topspin, hits the winner. And now he's got a second ball.
Early lead, 3rd set to Hewitt.
First game, final set.
He did it the hard way. Stayed back on all the rallies. Beautiful cross-court pass for the break. And he's talking to his wife there and his trainer. Again, look at how he gets down and with the shoulder in the shot there for his 2 hands. Beautiful.
Hewitt is coached once again by the Aussie legend Tony Roach since 2010. They worked together for the first time 2007 to 2009. Tony is not here this week and is not his week-to-week coach. Peter Lujak, fellow Aussie, travels with him and is here this week.
Tony Roach was one of the great Aussies. Had a marvelous record with John Newcomb. Newcomb and Roach were a great doubles team, great Davis Cup team, and he's developed into a wonderful coach for Australians. Saw him at Wimbledon this year.
13 Grand Slam doubles titles for Tony Roach, and of course he won the French in 1966 in singles. Inducted here in 1986. Hewitt starting to brim with confidence.
Yeah, he sure is.
40 love.
Jan Hernych has been coached for over a decade by the same man, Jiří Rebek, fellow Czech. Made it to the top 25 on the ATP World Tour in the 70s, but he's here alone this week.
Again, Hewitt.
Quick story on Tony Roach. You say he won the
New
French in
balls, please.
66. 68 went to Australia. We needed a left-handed
Hewitt,
server.
please.
I
Two
called
games.
Roachy and said, can you come up and serve the American team for a couple days? We'd pay you a good lot of money. And Roachy said, I'll call you back tomorrow. And he called me back the next day, and he was a good friend of mine. He said, Donald, my dad said, I can't possibly work with you in the Davis Cup for the Americans. You're playing the Australians, so I'm staying home.
I think I respect that.
His father was adamant. Roachy was thinking about coming because there was a lot of money in those days to coach, and he turned us down. We won that match anyway over the great Harry Hopman in the last match he played.
Sitting duck.
Ooh, boy, that ball just bounced up high.
Well, it's funny, Hernych was
Not 15.
involved in a bit of a dust-up regarding Davis Cup play and money himself. When he got his ranking up high enough to where the Czechs wanted him to finally play, in 2011, he
15.
asked to be paid. And there are various, arrangements, various national federations about
They're
players
all
getting
different.
paid for
They're
Davis
all
Cup.
different. Yeah.
But he asked, and they said no, and then they wouldn't let him play. And he talked about it after the fact.
15-30.
And he said, for the first time in my life, I asked for money and it backfired.
Sounds like the Nicky Pilic affair in 1973. Led to a Wimbledon boycott of 67 players over that exact same issue. The Yugoslav government wanted him to play Davis Cup. He refused, and they asked him to be suspended. Wimbledon accepted, and 67 players did not play at Wimbledon in 1973 over that very issue. Some pretty good players pulled out, Smith, Ash, Drysdale, Rosewall, Newcomb, Roach. It was one heck of a deal.
Chance for Hewitt to take a double break lead. Final set.
This is a very big point for Lleyton Hewitt, because if he can get this second break, he'll be coasting in the third set. And he's very confident, having beaten Hernych in his 6 previous meetings.
That's just awfully good from Hewitt from behind the baseline. It's been a passing shot display from the Aussie today, counteracting the serve and volley tactics of the Czech, and it's got him a 2-break lead in the final set.
Wouldn't it be great to get out? Technology. Let's add some fun to work. You can treat your group to a Cotton Museum tour, breaks, and lunch on one of the beautiful porches, or even a game of team building, croquet, and cocktails at the end of a long day. For additional information, visit tennisfan.com or inquire with any staff member.
Out on the porch, croquet. Hey Bruce, good stuff today. Providence or even Boston?
It's been a brilliant returning day for Lleyton Hewitt. Here are some of them.
Steps in nicely there. So quick on both sides. With that forehand for the winner.
Necessity, they say, is the mother of invention, and you develop a skill set based on what your physical attributes are. And Lleyton Hewitt was never going to overpower anybody, never going to have a gigantic serve, and he became a great counterpuncher, a great returner of serve based on the fact that he needed to be.
Based on his hero, Ken Rosewall of Australia, who did exactly the same thing at 5'8". He was a fabulous returner server.
He's also such a heady player.
Love 15.
Very, very smart.
Andre Agassi called him the best shot selector in the history of the game.
Like that selection. Beautiful first serve, opens up the court,
15.
comes in behind it, and just smacks it for the winner into the open court. He's off and running.
Ah! 15-30.
You see that gesture from Hernych towards the chair. He thought that that was a double fault from Hewitt, and it was awfully close to being beyond the service line.
And again, we should explain that the chair umpire can overrule any linesman's call. But they use it very sparingly and very wisely, I hope. Tremendous power. Coming into the net. That was a surprise to Hernych.
He had him on a string.
40-30.
So he uses the whole court here. Now he gets the slice, hits the top of the net, he gets in close, and he volleys behind him. Very clever.
Slice clipped the tape from Hewitt, and he did a brilliant job just to scoop that ball up and over. Point for 4 love.
That was an unusual miss there by the forehand. A little sloppy off his right side because it was such an important point. Made up for it there with a beautiful first serve.
Advantage Hewitt.
Starting to creep up. Leighton's percentage was down around 42. It's now up to 49.
That's half the time. It's a lot of first serves into the net.
Again, Hewitt.
So the 4-love lead is confirmed, and Hewitt inching
leads
closer
4 games to love.
To a spot in the semifinals here for the 2nd year in a row.
He's cruising right now, very confident, and Hernych has got to climb a mountain here. Love 4, 2 breaks down. We could have a nice repeat Isner Hewitt last year's final.
See Hewitt with a 4-love lead in the final set. does make you think a little bit about that French Open match with Gilles Simon 2 months ago, first round at Roland Garros. Hewitt led 2 sets to love, and Simon came back and won the 3rd and 4th sets. Then Hewitt led 5 love in the 5th. Only to see Simon come back and win it.
Love 30.
7-5 in the 5th.
It's hard to believe 5 love in the 5th when you're up. To lose 7 straight games on clay is remarkable.
Hernych desperately trying to hang on here. 15-30 down already, 2 breaks. Played a lot of tennis this week, coming through qualifying for his 3rd consecutive tournament.
Hewitt has definitely picked up his game, though. The level of his talent has come up.
30.
Half a dozen aces for Hernych, more than offset by the 8 double faults that have been his undoing, especially here in the 3rd.
Wide.
40-30.
All right, so he's on the board in this final set. That's the good news. The bad news is he's still 2 breaks in the hole. And that is not a good place to be against Lleyton Hewitt.
Appreciation Day. We'll be honoring some veterans before the beginning of our final match. So if you are one of those veterans, will be joining us on court for our coin toss. We ask that you meet in the northwest corner of the stadium by the time this match ends. Thank you. Okay, I lied. It's actually the northeast corner of the stadium where we need our veterans to go.
Back with you in Newport, where Lleyton Hewitt is closing in on the semifinals here at the Hall of Fame Tennis Championships. Brett Haber and Donald Dell. So pleased to be with you for this first event back on U.S. soil, on the road to the U.S. Open. Hard court season begins next week. Both of these guys like the grass.
Good first serve by Hewitt.
15.
Does it the easy way.
You mentioned that it appears as though we're going to have a rematch of last year's final and a semifinal tomorrow between John Isner and Lleyton Hewitt. When Hewitt lost that final last year, it was the first time in his career that he'd lost a final on grass. And he'd played in 7 previous grass finals. He was 7-0 until last year. Yeah.
He's going to get a shot at Isner now, it looks like. And it will be a great style. Different contrast. Both players are so different. Like Mutt and Jeff.
And that's
power and counterpuncher. Counterpuncher.
Left.
I mean, and talk about 2 different matchups for Isner after playing essentially his mirror image today in Ivo Karlovic. He gets the polar opposite tomorrow.
Well, in his interview today, he sort of mentioned about Hewitt. He knew he was floating in there, and I think he's a little concerned about
5 games to 1.
because this is a world-class player in Leighton Hewitt.
Last year's final went 7-6, 6-3 to Isner.
15.
Would you call Hewitt on grass a favorite against Isner, not the rankings notwithstanding?
No, I wouldn't, because John's a weapon, this big serve. Although Hewitt will return it. If John's missing his first serve, then it's another match. But if Isner's serving his first balls at 65, 70%, he's really tough to break. But Hewitt's the one guy in the tournament that could do it.
It has been some kind of grass court season for Leighton Hewitt. He made the semifinals at Queens, and how about the run he had there? He beat Dimitrov, who's top 30 now and has had an excellent year. He beat Sam Querrey, who's top 20. He beat Del Potro, who's 8 in the world. And then lost to Cilic in the final.
40-15.
Then he goes to Wimbledon and in the first round beats top 10 player Stan Wawrinka.
Which was a heck of a win.
And then lost a shocker to Dustin Brown.
That one I'll never understand.
A lot at this year's Wimbledon we might not understand for a while.
(40-30)
For Hernych, his struggles continue against top players. Granted, Hewitt is not in the top 10 now. He certainly has been. Hernych has played 23 matches in his career against top 10 opponents. He's won 1. It was off his handle.
Yeah.
So Hernych holds for 2-5. Tepid applause from the crowd here, but it appears that the end is near. Hewitt to serve for the match. Next. 'But a fun day of tennis here at the Hall of Fame. John Isner advancing to the semifinals, and Leighton Hewitt apparently about to do the same. Double break lead in the third. He'll serve for the match here. About an hour ago, we saw him favoring his left knee and looked a bit dodgy. His movement seemed to be compromised, but he's bounced from that. Leighton Hewitt fighting, imagine that.
Coming back from a set down. Imagine that. Leighton really just controls the play if they both stay back. He's winning 2/3 of those points.
39.
Another good second serve. 2 points for match is Leighton Hewitt.
Left. Second service.
Beautiful low volley there, a little drop volley off the extended arm.
30-15.
The Czech makes a good play here. Not only gets to the volley, but drops it in close. That great angle. Gets down low. Keeps the ball on the racket strings.
Some big serves from Hewitt in this game and in this set in general. And
40-15.
he arrives at match point at the 2-hour mark of this match. He should have been coming to Newport his whole life. This place agrees with Leighton Hewitt into the semis for the second year in a row.
Beautiful play the way he took over the match after losing the first set tiebreaker.